Hi, my name is Hidey Saga, International Artistic Director from Tony & Guy London Academy and Label M Professional. Here we are at the studio shooting for our latest collection, Socialized. The look I'm working on is the look called Instalax. Instalax is the mid-length shape, very wearable shape with the grown-out fringes covering the eyes and working with the soft layers coming through. It's all about the texture, it's all about the movement, also the seamless feeling, and it's all about the rock chick feel. 90s influence coming into the twist with the latest technology of products. The inspiration comes from 3 key looks that we got inspired from. First of all, it's the Tom Ford campaign that we had this distressed texture. The second of all was the Marc Jacobs campaign, which we had fringes. The third inspiration I got was the Japan Fashion Week, the campaign we did for Onitsuka Tiger, which is a grown-out fringe, a little bit softer, almost in the eye, but it got that sexiness. Now let's take a look at the step-by-step for the Instalax. First of all, we prep the hair with a protein spray. Secondly, we applied the volume form, which will give us greater control of the cutting. And also when we come to finish off the hair, gives a slightly swelled texture. Then we start off with the profile parting through the middle. Then high radial parting, we take in the triangle to each side of the recession area. We take in diagonal back section into diagonal forward section. Then we take in another diagonal back section just above the hairline, which is going to be our undercutted area through the underneath. So starting off the haircut with working our perimeter shape, working into our natural fall, all the way through, working square baseline using our deep point cutting technique. So we got the slightly softer edges through. Working our body position to the natural fall. So as soon as we arrive to the side area, again working the hair to its natural fall, cutting the hair square. Once we completed this section, we are isolating the underneath section away. Then we're going to work on the triangle section through the back of the head. Through this section, we're working our profile section through the middle, then working short to long from top to bottom, which creates our reduction of the weight using this reverse graduation technique. The longest point meets the length, so the length is your guide, and I'm working slightly shorter towards the top area. Then I'm working diagonal back section from the middle to the outside, over directing to the previous section and working to maintain slightly more weight towards the outside. Thicker the hair is, the angle is steeper and shorter, so you can reduce the weights much more. Finer the hair is, the angle is almost square, so you wouldn't reduce too much of a weight, but then you create the movement and the volume towards the head shape. If you're working with thicker hair, you can work it 90 degrees. If you're working on the finer hair, then you can over direct to the central guide to maintain more weight and length. Then we're going to work on the top area, which is going to be our internal layering section. Working center profile section, it's going to be disconnected to the underneath section. The disconnection we're working is from 1 inch to 1.5 inches, depending on the density of the hair. Longer the disconnection is, it's going to look more aggressive. As less disconnection, we're going to be more commercial and create more movement. So this case, we're working with 1.5 inch disconnection to create more movement, as we're working on the very dense hair through the back. So this case, we're starting again with a point cutting technique to creating a softer edges. Again, working slightly shorter through the top, then going longer towards the bottom to create the nicer head shape and also creating the texture through the internal lengths. Working parallel section across and we're over directing everything towards our central guide, so we're maintaining the weight towards the outer edges. Depending on the lengths and the weight, you can change the angle of what you're cutting, so the shape can be used in many different forms. I'm working slightly shorter towards the crown, so when we cut the fringe in, the overhang is minimal. Some cases you can create the angle a little bit less steep, so you go a little bit more overhang and to blend into the lengths and edges. Once we completed this area, then isolating this back again to work through the side areas to incorporate our soft brick cutting. I'm leaving out the front panel to maintaining the weight and lengths and the heaviness in order to create that modern backward feeling. But inside of the hair we need more texture, so what we're working on is the diagonal back section throughout the front area, then we're working our brick cutting manner. I'm making sure our blade of the scissors are parallel to the hair, so we're not making any marks within the hair, and we're just cutting out a smaller piece of the hair at the time, working with a brick manner, so we're creating an internal layering within the hair. We repeat the sections on both sides. Once we got towards the end of the section, we stopped cutting the brick cutting, so we're maintaining the weight throughout the perimeter shape. Continuing exactly the same way, this is a great technique to create the softer feeling, and if you work the hair blow dry straight, it still stays straight. If you want to create some movement and volume, it's easier with our label and products to achieve that with this cutting technique. Then now we move on to our final section, which is our fringe area. We work this section in 4 panels. First section, we work with the horizontal section, then working to its natural fall, and I'm using halfway through the nose as a guide, and working point cut square. I'm allowing the hair to jump when it's dry, and it just sits around the eye area, and that's the kind of lengths we're looking for. Next section, we're working parallel section to the guide, and we're working to slide cut out the hair, so we got on top of our guideline slightly longer area coming through, slightly textured feeling, the same as reducing the weight and lengths. Third panel, again we're working to its natural fall, working each section individually. Next section we're working same as our first guideline, working natural fall, point cutted, working it square. So moving on to the last panel of the fringe section, which is the top of the triangle, repeating the same as the second section within the fringe, using the slide cut and channel cutting, reducing the lengths dramatically and meeting the guideline. Each section is cut individually to create the texture slightly different within the panel. This is the focal point of the technique, to have this softer long fringes, which we see it's a current that's going to be around for the next season. Once we finished the haircut, we started to blow dry the hair. To start off, we rough dry the hair to get rid of the excess moisture. Then we wanted to smooth the cuticle, so we're using the hot brush to get the smoother cuticle, a little bit more shine. Once the hair is dried, then we're starting to work our personalizing technique, which we're working with the slicing technique, starting lower, then elevating it higher throughout the internal shape, so we're getting that seamless effect, and also knocking off the slight corner and blending the shape and this connection, as you can see. Through the back area, you want it to deep point cut the underneath section through the ends, so we got a little bit more softer area, then slicing the overhang just to create a slightly more textured and blended feeling. Once we've done that, we check in the perimeter shape, clean up our baseline, then working with our outer edges throughout the fringe and perimeter shape. Once we completed that, we then working on our finishing look. So before that, we're using our Label M straightening irons just to create the extra smoothness within the mid lengths to the ends. Then we applied our Label M souffle to bring back that slight movement within the hair. So we got the areas of a slight shine and areas of a little bit matte all together. So that's going to create our modern finish to the shape. You can see the fringes just sat on the eye, but you can see the way we cut the hair, you can see through the eyes. So this season you can see this straight buckled modern texture coming throughout the lengths and ends, and I think this is what we're gonna see more and more on the strip. That was the technique for the Instalax. Education is so important for us because us hairdressers always need to be learning the fashion, then interpret that into our hairdressing skills, and always education give us the edge to be exciting the clients. And also by learning the new skills, we can always grow as a hairdresser and achieve your targets and goals. It's been a great pleasure working with Makoto, and especially for Toni & Guy Japan, this year is our 30th anniversary. So on this special year, to be able to represent the collection from Japan, be a part of art team in London, it's just amazing, and just we love it.